Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the upcoming action-adventure indie RPG that is Skellboy Refractured. In Skellboy Refractured, you play as Skippy in your quest to keep a heartbroken court magician from destroying the world with his army of monsters and undead. Upon learning of his unrequited love, the magician summoned all sorts of nefarious creatures to destroy Kobold Kingdom as a plot of revenge against the princess who slighted him, inadvertently awakening an ancient hero long dead. The story in Skellboy Refractured never really takes itself too seriously, and always delivers in a tongue-in-cheek style. It was goofy and charming, and even though it never really garnered more than a sensible chuckle, I was at least happy that I wasn't forced to sit through long-winded cutscenes or lengthy reads. It speaks to the game's self-awareness as a casual game for casual gamers. Skellboy's graphics and sound were really among the brightest spots of the game. The visuals are highly reminiscent of the Paper Mario series, how you're living and slaying in a 2.5D world, and the audio flooded me with some hardcore Zelda nostalgia, not only in the soundtrack but also the little details like finding a new item or bashing up the furniture. Skellboy Refractured, however, plays nothing like those two games. I've heard Skellboy be compared to a lot of different games, but it really most closely resembles the Lego series in terms of gameplay. For one, the gameplay is very linear. For the most part, you're just going to be progressing from room to room, killing monsters and taking in the scenery. There are a few puzzles to work your brain on a bit, but there's not really any decision making here at all. And the second reason is because this is a very easy game intended for anyone of any skill level to be able to pick up a controller and enjoy it. And it's not a bad thing, by the way. But if you're not aware of that, it could make for some very unhappy players. And finally, there's a brand new co-op that's been added for Steam's Refractured version, which is one of the reasons that this stands head and shoulders above the Switch version. At any time, you can add or remove a second player for some couch co-op or online with Steam Remote Play together. This takes an easy game and makes it even easier, but I definitely found it more fun than running through it alone. There are actually several new content updates to Skellboy Refractured that make it an all-around superior game to the original. In addition to the brand new randomized dungeon and a much needed new game plus, there are over 20 new items that have been added, allowing for new styles of play. The loot system in Skellboy Refractured definitely has its pros and cons, however. I really liked how much loot was dropping, and some of it was really imaginative, like mushroom shoes that slow enemies down, or a giant pencil that you can huck like a spear. But a lot of it was also really useless. This useless gear still gave you a different look, but it often provided no defenses or bonuses. So even though Skellboy Refractured boasts over 100 items in the game, most players will only be interested in using maybe half of that. One last really important thing that should be mentioned about specifically the Steam version of Skellboy is its stability. The Switch release was roughly a year ago, and there were a lot of technical issues that it suffered from that really sucked the life out of this game. Fortunately, those seem to be mostly taken care of. I noticed a couple small frame dips very rarely, which is still surprising considering these graphics, but it's definitely come a long way to the point where most players aren't even going to take notice. The one part of combat that I really always found myself looking forward to was the bosses. They still aren't very difficult, and I never really found myself in danger of dying, but they are pretty engaging. The way that the traps and effects from their respective dungeons were incorporated into the fight, as well as the superb soundtracks, really made them stand out as the most enjoyable part of Skellboy Refractured. The only real downside is if you do end up falling to one of these nasties, you'll usually have to take a pretty long walk from the nearest checkpoint. The biggest thing hurting Skellboy Refractured from really being great is that it's still not worth the price. You'll be able to pick up Skellboy Refractured tomorrow, January 13th, 2021 on Steam. A price hasn't yet been announced, but if they release it at the same $20 tag that the Nintendo Switch version is priced at, then this is going to be something that you're going to want to wait for a sale on. From title screen to credits, you're looking at roughly 8 or 9 hours of gameplay with the new randomized dungeon and the new Game Plus mode. It does have a great soundtrack and a lot of charm, but I'm valuing Skellboy Refractured at $13, and I'd only recommend it to fans of casual co-op games who are into cute hack-and-slash dungeon crawlers. I hope you enjoyed this review of Skellboy Refractured. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress 5 nights a week. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time, peace!